seen the movie Thank You for Smoking. It's a great little film about a guy whose job it is to lobby for the cigarette industry. And what you just heard are a couple of very generous people, more or less the good German defense, but I'm not going to let you all off that easy. And one of the lines in the movie is that, well, you got to pay the mortgage. And that justifies him going around and convoluting the arguments that cigarettes cause cancer. This is very much what I think TCEQ staff is doing the last 5 or 6 years in particular, since you just quit trying to write these plans. At least in the mid-aughts, there was some attempt to be serious about it, but the last 2 SIPs are just pathetic. This is more of a hope than a plan. There is no planning in this plan. You are waiting for the federal gasoline mix to come down in 2017 and hope you get the result by the summer of 2018. You're not even doing anything until that gasoline mix takes effect. I just want to read into the record the definitions, the EPA definitions of reasonable available control measures and reasonable available control technologies, because I think they're going to be very important in the future when we go to visit EPA and if we have to sue over this plan. The plan provisions, this is a quote, required to be submitted under this part shall comply with each of the following. In general, such plan provisions shall provide for the implementation of all reasonable available control measures as expeditiously as practicable, including such reductions in emissions from existing sources in the area as may be obtained through the adoption at a minimum of reasonably available control technology, and shall provide for attainment of the national primary ambient air quality standards. To show that RACM, reasonable available control measures, are being implemented as expeditiously as practicable, the state must explain why the selected implementation schedule is the earliest schedule based on the specific circumstances of that area. You don't have to wait till 2018. If you wanted to, you could speed this up. Not much chance of that happening with this plan. Such claims cannot be general claims that more time is needed, but rather should be specifically grounded in evidence of economic or technological infeasibility. That's the definition. And as opposed to RACM, RAC, the control technology itself, is not even a factor. Advancing the timeline is not even a factor, because the benefit of that technology is presumed under the Federal Clean Air Act. And I just want to take 3 examples where this is clearly not happening in this plan. One is SCR on kilns. And if you read this plan, this is all stuff that's very superficial in their denials of why this applies to these sources, and none more so than SCR on kilns. It talks about the 2006 TCEQ study on SCR, and this was a study, by the way, that we forced them, downwinders forced them to do. And they quote from the parts of the study that talk about the criticisms of SCR and problems of SCR. There is no quote in this plan from the conclusions of that study. Let me read that to you. The conclusions are that SCR, this is by the way a quote, SCR is an available technology for dry kilns, commercially available and in use on similar types of cement plants. It can cut 80 to 85% of the NOx pollution, and the cost is $2,000 per ton, and dare say that's come down since then, as opposed to $13,000 per ton that this agency is supporting in terms of TERP provisions, other kinds of controls. The second reason is because the EPA says it's not feasible as of 2010. This must be the first time the state of Texas has taken the EPA's word for anything, especially over industry. Because there are 6 working examples of SCR on cement plants in Europe, some of them owned by Lafarge and Holcim that own cement plants in this country. SCR is, according to CEMEX, another cement company, proven effective control technologies for cement plant, and not even mentioned in this permit, in this SIP, is the fact that Holcim is applying for SCR to be built in Ellis County right now. That's not even mentioned. It's the first time that this agency must be taking the word of the EPA over industry. It's just incredible. The same thing is true of electric compressors. If you look at what they say about why they can't be electrified, it's all assertions. They've done no studies. There is no information in this SIP to justify the assertions that this is not practical, that you cannot do this, that it will not lead to further NOx reductions. The same thing is true on SCR on coal plants. They just dismissed the fact that, well, we're going to be close enough anyway, so we didn't even consider SCR on the coal plants. It's not even worth our trouble. There's no analysis there. This plan wouldn't even pass a college engineering test. And so what I'm asking you to do now is just, if you would, everybody that's wearing one of these badges or wants to wear one, this is an illegal plan. And what this means is that we're going to get up and start enforcing the law ourselves. And so I just want, this will be the most empowering thing you do all evening at this thing. So please just get up and raise your right hand here and follow me if you would. I pledge.
I pledge.
My duty.
To do my duty.
As a citizen to uphold the Clean Air Act. And take responsibility to provide cleaner air.
And take responsibility to
To over 6 million residents in the Dallas-Fort Worth non-attainment area.
over 6 million residents in the
Especially since the state of Texas doesn't seem to give a damn anymore.
especially because the state of Texas doesn't seem to give a damn anymore.
I pledge to help persuade the federal marshals, EPA, to make Texas follow the law.
To make
Texas follow the law
And bring safe and legal air to Dallas-Fort Worth
and bring safe and legal air to Dallas-Fort Worth
by rejecting this god-awful plan submitted by the state and substituting one of its own.
Substituting one of its own.
That's okay. Well, for the purposes of swearing in, you're all now deputized, and you can all now help us enforce this plan by going to